Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history.
The Democrats needed something to mix it up, and we got it. We got a vibrant, exciting, experienced young candidate.
President Trump is running on a message of common sense, of unity, of success, and that's a winning message no matter who we face.
For Democrats, they view this move as something that's going to improve their chances in the general election. That is based more on hope than it is on the numbers right now.
Well, some of the setup there, as we heard from Vice President Harris, sounding like the Democratic nominee, although she's not officially that. However, Reuters report tonight saying Harris' campaign aims to lock in delegates by Wednesday evening. Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign aims to wrap up her presidential nomination by Wednesday night by securing a majority of the nearly 4,000 Democratic convention delegates needed to win. 4 sources with direct knowledge of the matter said. Her campaign officials and allies have been making hundreds of phone calls to lock in delegate support ahead of the August 19th to 22nd Chicago convention, while also seeking to block any would-be challengers. Let's bring in our panel. Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams, Matthew Continetti, fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and Julie Grace Brufke, congressional reporter for Axios. Okay, Juan, seems like it's fait accompli.
Well, the fact that Joe Manchin's not running, there's no one really has emerged in this 24-hour period since we heard from Joe Biden that he's exiting the race, tells you a lot. And right now, the enthusiasm, the donor support has been extraordinary. $80+ million raised in that 24-hour period. And the question is there going to be some resistance from people saying, well, where's the process? Where's the transparency? We just heard in the remarks that you played, Brett, Vice President Harris say, I'm going to earn this nomination. She does not want it to become a coronation because she sees that that potentially would be a negative.
Well, publicly, Juan, she doesn't want it to be a coronation, but she's working the phones to make it a coronation.
Well, of course. Wait a minute. I mean, yeah, she wants to win. I didn't say that she didn't want to win. But the idea is that she would earn it, that it wouldn't be simply that it had been conferred upon her by Biden or the people in the smoke-filled rooms.
Maybe vape-filled rooms in Chicago. Okay, here's President Biden calling in to that event just a short time ago.
Still fighting in this fight together. I'm not going anywhere. And I want you to know you've always had my back, and I promise you, I will always have your back.
I just have to say, I love Joe Biden. We have 106 days until Election Day, and in that time, we have some hard work to do.
I'm not going anywhere. I'll always have your back. I wonder if, Matthew, that was a swipe at the former President Obama. Not really having his back.
No, not this time or in 2016. Look, questions still remain about Joe Biden. What changed his mind? We still haven't had an answer on that. What is his condition?
And we haven't seen him.
And we haven't seen him. We've heard his voice. He was clearly reading off a script for much of that phone call. And I do think this Republican question about whether Joe Biden has the capacity to serve the rest of his term is real. There might be a partisan intent there, but it's a legitimate question nonetheless. And it puts Harris in an awkward position, Brett. Much like Hubert Humphrey in 1968, Harris is the sitting vice president trying to win a presidential election while the incumbent president is still in office, at least for now. And that means she has to deal with Trump on one hand and Biden's legacy on the other. That's going to be hard for her.
Julie Grace, just from a pure political standpoint, if Republicans make that case about the 25th Amendment, and if they somehow did that, and the cabinet and the vice president did that, Kamala Harris would become the 47th president of the United States with Air Force One and everything else, heading into a convention in Chicago. Is that politically a better idea for Republicans?
Now, I've talked to a number of Republican lawmakers, and they said they would rather kind of run against her as a president. Now, they would much rather have run against Joe Biden, given the poll numbers, and she's polled higher than he has, despite Trump still having an advantage there. But I think a number of senior Republicans do see that as an advantage, and I think they're going to just continue to paint her as an enabler and continue to paint him as kind of not being there cognitively for the remainder of his term.
There is excitement. There's clearly money, Juan. But the polls, if you look at our Fox News polls, when you put Biden and Harris together with the different groups, among key groups, the matchup with former President Trump, there's not that big of a difference. Maybe with voters under 30, a few points, independents 1 point, moderates a couple points. And then you look at the RCP average, Trump versus Harris, at least heading into this moment. It's still former President Trump with the lead, especially when you look at swing states. Now, that wasn't before she kind of shored up and coalesced Democratic support, and we could see those numbers shift a little bit. But you would say that the advantage is still the former president's at this moment?
I would. I would think that Trump right now has the stick in his hand as we head towards that, final stretch beginning in September after Labor Day. But there's so much to happen even between now and then, in specific, the Democratic convention. I would say this, the Republican negative research on Harris reads like this. She was supposed to do something about the border. What happened? She is a California liberal. She's not the moderate that Joe Biden is. They're going to present her as far more progressive than Joe Biden. And I think the final thing is that she's from California. She's a liberal. And, she's black. She's not. You can't say it out loud, but I think that's part of it.
You just did.
I did, but I don't think they can without, people saying nasty things. I think her response is going to be, look, if you look at what I've done, and if you look at some of these big issues, take for example, the abortion issue, that she feels that she's going to put them back on their heels.
What I saw in that speech from Harris is basically Harris running the Hillary Clinton campaign from 2016, except with Joe Biden's policy baggage. That is not a good hand, even going into the Democratic convention.
We're going to see a lot about policy, and maybe that's a good thing to talk about policy. Coming up, we'll talk to one of President Biden's key surrogates, now a surrogate for Vice President Harris, Delaware Senator Chris Coons.
Okay, guys. So, apparently my camera is frozen. A very stern look here. So, not sure what's going on there. But let me just say that Kamala knows she's facing a united front in Donald Trump. And I'm going to be right back with the stream here, guys. Sorry, don't know what's going on with the camera. But Kamala knows that she has to unify the party right now. Democratic Party is more divided right now than any time in recent history. For Biden to have dropped out, he must have had some serious pressure. And I doubt that we'll ever know exactly how much pressure he was under for him to drop out. My question to y'all is, would you prefer Trump face Biden or Harris? And I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point because Biden's out, but I was preferring that Biden stay in, because I feel like Biden is an easier win for Trump. You saw that from the polls just a second ago. And Harris, she does have an advantage with younger voters. You saw that's where her biggest advantage over Trump is with younger voters. But Trump still holds a strong lead. Harris is more extreme than Biden, though. This is the important piece, guys. And I believe that Kamala Harris, if elected, would be worse for this country than Joe Biden was. She already led this country because, as we saw with the big cover-up, that Joe Biden wasn't even able to run the country over the last few years because of his health issues. So Kamala Harris may be the one that's more responsible for where we're at today than even Joe Biden was. He might have been the face of it, but Harris was probably more involved, and now she is the face. Guys, we've got to get Trump elected in November. There's just no other way around it. Hey guys, I'm going to be right back with another stream on the Ingram angle, and we're going to talk about that. So subscribe so you don't miss that. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll get that stream up. Leave a like, hit that thumbs up button. It helps out the channel. And again, sorry for that just stern look I'm giving there. I don't know what's going on with the camera. We'll get that fixed.